What's up everybody, and welcome to another Pokemon Theory, where I like to take a look at some of the strange and interesting theories and mysteries in the Pokemon world. Today, I'm going to be talking about one of the strangest and creepiest places that appears in the Pokemon games, and all of the theories behind it. No, not the old chateau or even Lavender Town, I'm talking about the strange house that appears in Black 2 and White 2. In Black 2 and White 2, on the outskirts of Lentimus Town, and right before the player goes through Reversal Mountain, they have the opportunity to explore this strange and isolated house. It looks pretty run down and abandoned, and even the pathway to get to the house is overgrown with grass. Once inside the strange house, you'll notice that there's many things that, as the name of the house implies, are rather strange and kind of creepy. The inside is all but abandoned except for 2 trainers, and the furniture in the house constantly shakes and even rearranges itself when the player moves to a different floor. With all of these strange occurrences, it doesn't help that the music in the house gives off a pretty unsettling feeling as well. There's definitely something not normal going on in this house. If the player is able to make it downstairs, they'll come across 6 bookshelves which each contain an interesting piece of dialogue. Here are what the 6 bookshelves say. There's a Pokemon called Cresselia in the far Sinnoh region. Its wings shine like the crescent moon and keep nightmares away. There's a Pokemon called Darkrai in the far Sinnoh region. To protect itself, it drives people and Pokemon away with terrible nightmares. There are Pokemon called Drowsy. They put others to sleep and eat their dreams. Eating nightmares can upset their stomachs. There are Pokemon called Hypno. Each one carries a pendulum that it can swing to make people drowsy. It has been said that a Hypno once hypnotized a child and took it away. Some Pokemon know a move called Dream Eater. With this move, a Pokemon attacks while the target is asleep and eats its dream. It restores HP equal to half of the damage inflicted on the target. Some Pokemon have the Forewarn ability. A Pokemon with this ability is alerted to one of the opposing Pokemon's moves. High power moves will be recognized first. As we can see, there's a lot of strange books and information to be found in the downstairs library of the strange house. Just based on all this information, I think we can start to put together that something happened here that had to do with Cresselia, Darkrai, Dreams, and possibly the Drowsy line of Pokemon. Things are definitely starting to get a little bit creepier now, and it only gets worse from here on out. Throughout the player's journey through the strange house, they will encounter a mysterious ghost girl who says some interesting, albeit creepy, things to the player. The first thing she says is, "An everlasting dream, an endless dream of darkness. Dad, Mom, Abra, where are you?" In the second encounter with her, she says, "In the dark dream, I heard my dad's voice. Forget about the lunar wing. Please stay here with me." Once the player eventually makes it to the second floor's bedroom, they're able to pick up an item in the middle of the floor, which turns out to be a lunar wing. The ghost girl then appears to the player and delivers her final dialogue in which she says, "Oh, the lunar wing. I can't take it now, but it'll be okay. Please return the wing to the Pokémon. I was waiting on the bridge so I could return it myself." And that's all of the information we know about the strange house. It's pretty strange, right? Well, now that we know all the information, we can start to piece together just what exactly happened into a hopefully coherent theory. First things first, this specific ghost girl has actually appeared in the original Pokemon Black and White, more specifically on the Marvelous Bridge. At a random time, when the player enters the Marvelous Bridge, they can see the ghost girl standing next to a man. When the player gets close, she will disappear. If you talk to people on and around the bridge, they will talk about the young girl and how she used to play around the area with her Abra. This information isn't too crucial to the theory, but this does confirm that it's the same ghost girl who was present in the strange house due to them both having an Abra, and how in the strange house, the ghost girl says that she was waiting on a bridge to return the lunar wing back to the Pokemon that it was taken from. Because this girl is a ghost during the original Black and White, we can assume that she died either during the course of the main story in those games, or a short period of time before their events happened. For reference, the events of Black 2 and White 2 happened 2 years after the original Black and White, and the strange house only appears in those games. It is not in the original Pokemon Black and White. The next thing we need to look at is the lunar wing. In case you didn't know, the Lunar Wing is a key item that appears in only Pokemon Diamond, Pearl, and Platinum, along with Black 2 and White 2. The Lunar Wing is associated with Cresselia, and it has the power to wake people up from endless nightmares. These unending nightmares are usually caused by Darkrai, who is often considered the counterpart to Cresselia. Considering that the Strange House's basement had books that contained information on Cresselia and Darkrai, along with other Pokemon that can induce sleep and dreams, I think it's safe to say that Cresselia and Darkrai had some sort of involvement in the passing away of this child. Alrighty, so here's the theory. I know there's a lot of different theories about what happened with the Strange House, but this one is the most commonly accepted, and it's the one I personally think is true. I also have to apologize in advance because it sort of reads like a creepypasta and story, rather than a traditional theory that I do, so just keep that in mind as I go over this theory. So sometime before the events of Pokemon Black and White, this girl and her Abra live with their parents in the Strange House before it gets super strange. The girl and her Abra decide to go and play at the Marvelous Bridge. This seems to be something they do often, as some people seem to recognize her ghost at the Marvelous Bridge after she dies. Sometime before or during the events of Pokemon Black and White, this little girl has an encounter with a Darkrai, who puts her into a nightmarish slumber. Now, whether this Darkrai put the girl into an endless nightmare on purpose, or if it was just trying to protect itself like its Pokédex entry suggests, we don't know. There is a slight sign pointing to the Darkrai doing this on purpose though, and I'll get to that in a second. With this girl being tormented by never-ending nightmares now, it stands to reason that her father, or perhaps her mother, went looking for a Lunar Wing to wake her up with. Considering that in Unova, Cresselia has only been seen and encountered at the Marvelous Bridge, it would make sense that they would have to either travel there or teleport there by the girl's Abra to get a Lunar Wing. At this point, in her nightmare, the girl hears her father's voice saying, "Forget about the Lunar Wing. Please stay here with me." I don't think I really have to explain this, but it's not her father saying this to her. It's the Darkrai that put her into this dark dream, trying to convince her to give up on hope that she'll ever wake up, and to stay in this nightmare with it forever. Eventually, her parents would retrieve a Lunar Wing and bring it to her in hopes that she would wake up out of her nightmare, but at that point, it would be too late. Darkrai's endless nightmare would have taken her life, and the Lunar Wing they brought to her would do nothing to save her. Her parents, most likely being distraught at their daughter's death, or perhaps scared that the Darkrai would come back for them, abandoned their house near Lentimus Town, leaving the failed Lunar Wing behind. The ghost of the child would then wait on Marvelous Bridge to try and return the Lunar Wing to Cresselia, but would never be able to do it. Eventually, about 2-ish years later, during the events of Black 2 and White 2, the player would make their way to the Strange House, where the ghost girl would ask them to return the Lunar Wing to Cresselia on the Marvelous Bridge. She says that she can't take the Lunar Wing now, but it will all be okay. The player can then take the wing to Marvelous Bridge, where they will have a battle with Cresselia. And that's probably the biggest and most well-accepted theory on the Strange House. Because the game doesn't give us too much information on the Strange House and the events that happened in it, a lot of this theory comes from the subtle clues hidden within the house, and the relationship between the Lunar Wing, Cresselia, and Darkrai. If we ever get a Black 3 and White 3, which will probably never happen, I'm hoping they'll expand on the story behind it, but until then, feel free to share some of your own theories on what could have happened to this mysterious girl and the Strange House in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.